Hello and welcome to my studio once again here in central UK. I'm Simon Henry, if you haven't seen me before, and this is where we meet up to discuss all things yarn and yarn craft. Today I'm going to talk about more odd shaped needles, and also I'm going to talk about a bit more hate that we've had in the comments. Do you remember the lady with the boiled puppies? Well, she's back. So, first things first, I'm going to address a couple of things that we've had brought up from previous videos. One of which was when I did the little bits on yarn weights. I'm just going to pull up now. I did omit what they call different yarn weights in Australia and New Zealand. So I've corrected this by just adding it to this little chart that I'm putting up now. So the numbers that I've written down the side, which were with me finger because I couldn't find my Apple pen. Anyway, I thought you'd want to see it anyway, so I thought, look, just do it. It's fine. I'm going to get some hate. You watch. I'm being unprofessional. That's what I'm being. But I put this little thing together just so that you can see. Here are the yarn numbers, the numbering system down the USA system, the UK system, and also then the Australia and New Zealand system with suggested needle size. When I spoke about yarn weight, yarn thickness, I did say that one of the best ways of doing it, if you're going to use a knitting pattern and you're not going to use the suggested yarn on that knitting pattern, the best way to find approximately what yarn weight you should use is just look at the size of the knitting needles that they've used. That doesn't always work, but it gives you at least a starting point. So I've put down the side there the suggested needle sizes for those yarn weights, and because I've mentioned needle sizes, I've also put here a chart with the metric, the UK and the US needle sizes on. So I really hope that helps. So that was number one. Number two, oh dear, a bit more hate from, we'll just call her Boiled Puppies Woman. If you remember a few videos back, I had somebody say to me that I shouldn't be using this particular woolen yarn from Temu because it was made from boiled puppies. So I've racked my brains to try and think. Honestly, I really thought it was a joke. I honestly thought it was a joke, but it turns out no. This person, I've got to say person because I've been told off now for doing some misgendering. The photograph that she sent, sorry, I've done it again. The photograph that they sent was most definitely somebody presenting themselves as very much female. And the name that she uses, they use, dear, I'm going to get in so much trouble. The name that they use is very much a female name. When I went on to their own YouTube channel, in the language that they use, they talk very much of themselves in the female gender. So when I said she, apparently I should have contacted them first to find out what pronouns they prefer to use. I should have gone to the trouble to contact them to find out, before I spoke of them, what pronouns they preferred to use. So I will try my very best to be respectful and refer to them as they and them. So we had boiled puppies. Now we've got I shouldn't be knitting because I am a man, and this is women's work. Okay. I don't really know what to say. I honestly don't. I don't really know what to say. If I said what I wanted to say, I would get into serious trouble. So I'm not going to say it. I'm going to leave you all to make up your own minds. So this women's work that's only for women, without the men doing the, the wool farming and the, spinning in the factories, and people like me designing knitting patterns, etc., etc. Take all of that out of the equation and you do it all yourself, love. That's what I say. Enjoy. Moving on. So on the last video I looked at odd shaped knitting needles. So I was looking at square knitting needles, which I was kind of aware of in the background, but in all of the years of me knitting I've never used them. So I had a little look at those and actually got on with them rather well. So I had quite a few people then contact me to say, had I seen triangular knitting needles and there's kind of other shapes as well, which I hadn't. So I was recommend, number one, that I try, let me see if I can get them tangled first of all, these Prim triangular needles. So I ordered some of those. Now the first thing that I saw that actually I was quite impressed by is that they click together, which means one, your stitches aren't going to come off, and two, if you've got no stitches on, it actually keeps them together in the bag. I've got this massive knitting bag that's absolutely full of every pair of needles I've ever bought, and I don't know if you're like me, but I can only ever find one in a particular size. It's like your socks in the washing machine. I can only ever find one. This is a good idea. This is a good idea. I've used corks to hold them together. I've used little elastic bands. I've done all kinds of stuff, but this I think is a very good idea. So when they came, my first impression was I don't really like them. They feel really cheap. They're very bendy. They're not particularly comfortable to use. They've got this funny little knobble on the end. I don't know if you can see that. That supposedly helps with getting it through into the stitches. I didn't see there was any difference between that and using either normal needles or square needles. They were, however, when I started to knit with them, I just knit this little bit just to see how I felt. They were quite comfortable to hold. They're very light. I didn't really have to grip too hard. The stitches stayed in place. They didn't slip off. They're pretty much mostly what I want from any knitting needles, really. I didn't find them any better or any worse than any other kind of knitting needles I'd used. apart from they're very light, but I often use bamboo knitting needles, which are also extremely light. I do wonder if I was knitting something kind of fairly big, you know, the back of a jumper for my husband, because they're so bendy, I just do wonder how, you know, how it would support the weight of that. So, you know, I wouldn't say don't bother. My honest opinion, they're all right. They're all right. I wouldn't necessarily go out of my way to buy these over any others. So when I looked at those, because we were doing specifically triangular ones, I also then found these by the same company. It's the same type of needle to look at doing 5-pin knitting. And it's very rare that I say this. It was horrible. It really was horrible. I didn't enjoy that at all. It was quite hard to keep control of all of them. These may come in a smaller size. I don't know. These were the only ones that I could find in, I believe this is probably 8 inches. And when you're doing kind of small amounts like this, they were very, very difficult to use. The other ones, I don't know if I can find them. If you remember last time when I used the square ones, I got on really well with those. Kind of, this is the same size and the same yarn. Look at the difference. You know, no pleasure from those whatsoever. So, hold on, I'm on the floor. Oh dear. Every picture tells a story. I can get down. Getting up is a completely different matter. So I might have another go and just see. I want to be fair. A lot of people I know quite enjoy these. I didn't. Sorry. So that was those. Let me keep those out of the way. So then the next things that I was asked to have a look at is those first two ones, as you saw from the screen, were by Prim. This is an Addi square. The description is quite strange because it says Addi square circular knitting needle. It's either one or the other. Of course, what they mean is the needle part is actually square, and obviously it's a circular needle. So these, this is a fixed one. It's not part of their interchangeable set. For, I think these were 5.5 millimeter. Was on discount at £6.98 from Amazon. And I have to say, because when I looked, I thought, well, I don't really understand what's all these, you know, knobs and things going on in it. These were really comfortable. They were really nice to use. They stay on quite nicely, so they're not going to slip off. However, I don't know if it's the way that these are engineered, as you're knitting, they slide down the needle really nicely, and they're very lightweight. They're very easy to hold, and I actually think I might buy more of these because this was really nice. I quite enjoyed it. You know, tension was lovely. I did notice that you would possibly, you know, just have to really check your tension and your gauge just to make sure it's what you're used to. My tension came out a little bit differently to what it would have done on round needles, but that could be just me. As I got a little bit further down this, I did 2 or 3 little samples with different yarn. As I got a little bit further down, I did notice I was starting to relax quite a bit more, which also meant, one, it was very comfortable, but it also meant my tension was perhaps a little bit looser than it normally would be. So you may find you've got to go down half a size to get the same tension, but that's kind of for you to find out. So I'm going to carry on doing some more research. I'm going to find some more odd size needles by different people. These ones do ones that you can clip different size wires on. I might treat myself to a set of those. I might at some point go through my bag of knitting needles and be a bit ruthless and throw them away and just see what I replace them with. But those certainly I enjoyed. So the very plasticky thin prim ones with the little knobbly edge, if you like them, I would always say have a go, because it might suit you and your style of knitting. Bear in mind also that I am an English knitter and I am a thrower. For a more continental style, they might be different. They might feel differently. So if that's your style of knitting, then buy a set, have a go, and just see how you feel about them. My honest opinion, I wouldn't go out my way to have any more of those ones. The square, I think they call them unicorn needles, were lovely. I really enjoyed those. Last week's the square needles, which was the Shadow needles, were gorgeous. I really enjoyed those. So up to you. That's my opinion. Have a little go, see how you feel. So in the meantime, hold on. I'm going to just have a little mention of my Patreon site. If you've not been over there to have a look, just pop over and see what's going on over there. We've just done a little collaboration between all of my yarnsmithing lovelies over there, and what we do when I'm working on a new pattern that's specifically for the members of my Patreon site, I do write patterns up that's exclusive for them. You can go over there and you can buy the pattern from the Patreon site if you don't want to become a member. But if you do become a member at £5 a month, plus a little bit of tax depending on where you are, then you'll get access to all of those patterns. There's crochet alongs on there, etc. We're just about to start a new one as a knit along. This is the one that we've just finished. We did a cable saddled shoulder one, and as we went along, I was asking people, what do you want? Do you want V-neck? Do you want round neck? Do you want saddle shoulder? Do you want raglan sleeve? And this is the one that we've just finished and come up with. And so if you'd like to go over there and have a little look, please do so. Your support over there would really be very much appreciated. And I tell you what I'll do while I'm there. I'm just going to mention regulars over there, which I tell you what, I'd be able to see them much more clearly if I put my glasses on. I tell you, getting old is no fun. It really isn't. I'm not going to go into that. So we've got over there, let's have a look and just mention a few. We've got lovely Angela and Denise and Trisha. We've got Sue Dale. We've got Orla from Ireland. We've got Linda, Faye, Colleen, which I know is in the middle of nowhere in Australia. I just sent her some yarn over there. We've got Lynn, we've got Caroline, we've got Susan B. Apple Pips. I like that one. We've got lovely Nicola, lovely Pollard, Kerry, June, Alison, Sue Gallagher, Dinky Dragon, and more. Your support is really, really very much appreciated. If you want to be part of that group and come and join us, especially if you're a man, I feel the men are a bit, low. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. And I know there are people out there that think men shouldn't knit, but we do. I'm sorry. Especially boiled puppies, them. I've got no idea what to call them. Anyway, that aside, moving on. If you've liked what you've seen today, please like and subscribe. It's been lovely to have you along. I really do enjoy our little bits of time together. So like, share and subscribe. Like I said, it really does help out the channel. In the meantime, happy yarnsmithing. Very much love as always. And I'm going to see you really soon. Bye.